Leon has lived all his life among the foliage of a cement jungle. Every morning he climbs mountains of cloth, and his claws sharpen on enormous wooden trunks. It rises early, but Lion is a little clumsy, despite its large size and to be a king, usually entangled with its own tail. Sometimes gives votes on its own body. However, he always manages to reach the great water spring on time. The water is infinite, and he can lick his whiskers. Leon loves to drink water, but hates it when his legs touch it. He usually gets annoyed and in a bad mood. But a morning walk over his domain and feeling that he is owner of that place makes him feel happy. It is a wild beast that has at its disposal its own territory, and has its faithful companions who are always ready to fulfill their requests. Harry is called the Leon's closest friend. He must admit that the first time he met Harry, his impression was not the best. His body was strange, and despite being a giant, looked weak and docile, was unable to defend himself. And despite the fact that sometimes he usually gets his own food, on several occasions Leon has had to share the succulent prey he hunts to prevent his friend from falling helpless. Sometimes friends fight too, and if he doesn't know, instead of thanking his partner, showing a great appetite and devouring the juicy meat he has in his sight, he usually moans, shouts, babbles some kind of strange word and runs away terrified, even bitter at times. That kind of attitude often makes Leon angry. But his good heart prevents him from being angry for a long time. He is usually happy feline. Yes, definitely a king of any kind of jungle. He is always a happy king. Now that there is a deep discomfort is the heart of the king, and is that for months that seem years trying to evict from the domains the most sneaky thief. This thief is agile, slippery, and nobody ever imagines where he is, but attempts to make women faint and even corner some men, nobles and knights succumb to his presence. His size is the least, since he stands as Napoleon Bonaparte in the middle of battle campaigns, but with a mean purpose. As a good friend of Harry, Leon is fierce and takes care of his pantry, more because sometimes his friend gets delicious, with which both delight in the middle of a delicious sharing. But Eurito usually sleeps between the different sectors of his friend's home and manages to take big books to his hideout. Leon appreciates his friend, and for this reason it annoys him to think that Eurytus is simply taking away Harry's hard work, and stealing something like this is a serious crime. No one should borrow someone else's for a second without permission. Harry knows that Eurytus exists, but he has never seen him, so his friend is so worried. If his companion is short-sighted, a little ungainly, and does not understand what is happening around him, he will hardly be able to defend himself against Euryto. These problems were trifles. Every day after taking a nap and sparing of his body, the enormous feline took a walk in the clearest part of the jungle, which he usually calls the miniature concrete desert. His surprise was incredible when he found another large feline near his home. Even though it was a younger animal, he was still in a place to which he had not been invited. "What are you doing here?" the lion roared. "I am at home," answered the youngest feline without detecting the threatening tone in the king's question. "A jungle does not have two kings. Is this place a jungle?" "It's a jungle, that's right. It's my jungle, the concrete jungle, and I'm the king of these domains." In the middle of that conversation, Harry appeared, running fast despite his large size and holding the young feline in his arms. At first, Leon thought Harry would come to support him, but the look of his companion and the way he expressed himself, even though he could only babble, made him understand that it was he who had brought that character to his domains. Little by little, Harry lowered the young feline to the ground. My name is Maron. What's your name? Why do you want to know my name? The only thing you should know is that my territory is mine and there is not room for you. Space is enough. The youngest feline leapt around the place and approached Lion animatedly and recklessly. It is not. A roar was heard throughout the territory. Harry reappeared, and as he took the smallest feline in his arms, Lion climbed the mountains of cloth and arrived at a wooden shelf, on which he had to take a nap. He was angry, but something would occur to him to claim that he was the only king of that jungle. While he was sleeping, Eurito took the opportunity to come out of his hiding place and visit Harry's cupboard, which made Maron follow him curiously. Mr. Lion, Mr. Lion. When Lion heard his name coming from that annoyed tenant, he did not want to hear it, but his insistent calls made the feline approach with great discomfort. What do you want? I have seen another animal apart from us, has been in the pantry and has taken with it a piece of food. I do not know very well what it was, but the smell was fascinating. And that's all you call me for? Who is it that I have seen? Lion Lord. Despite his discomfort, the young feline treated him with respect, made the lion think that for annoying tenant he was at least respectful and knew his place. His name is Eurito, and we have been trying to catch him for several years. He is a thief, but he is first class, agile and slippery and often lurks underground. I have seen him run and have tried to follow him, but I have not been able to catch him. I've been trying for months. Boy, it takes a lot of ingenuity to round him up. I can be of help. Of course not, boy. If I couldn't, much less will you. Leon stood on his paws and put out his sharp claws. He got up and started his daily work again, to make guard in his territory and to look for its infinite spring of water. What a surprise when he found the spring was dry. There was not a drop of water, and as he climbed a wall, he could glimpse in the distance how Eurito was fleeing with his precious water, which he carried on his shoulder in some kind of bag or magic backpack. Lion watched as Eurito plunged beneath the earth, and suddenly his world became a parallel universe. He had moved to a different place than he remembered when he awoke. I watched carefully, and its enormous jungle, full of gigantic trees and cloud passageways, was transformed into a common and wild home. Each desert was a room, and the jungle was two rooms, one followed by the other, although his agility had diminished very little. He felt weaker, lighter and faster. He felt like a feather floating in the air every time he jumped, until he saw Maron. What happened to you? What do you mean, Mr. Lion? You are no longer a first feline, yet a little younger than me. You are a cat, a house cat. The young man looked strange around him. Something seemed to have changed. However, he could not notice so many differences as if Leon noticed them. Look at me, a king, and now I'm just a little cat. Lion found himself helpless, and Maron's indifference to such a situation made him understand that his was proof that the young cat was not welcome. Lion rolled and walked away, looked for his favorite cushion, the king's cushion, and a little sad decided to take a new nap to change his bad mood. In the middle of the dream, glimpsed an image was a beautiful silhouette with a great aura of magnificence. Who are you? I asked Lion. I am your fairy godmother, my dear kitty. I am a king, not a cat. You are a king and also a cat. I come to warn you, my dear lion, Irito has stolen the magic water from the spring, and until you recover it, you will never see your world in the same way again. And how do I recover the fairy godmother? There is only one lion way, and you cannot do it alone. At the moment Lion was started, Harry called him, with a sweet and kind voice, yet he could not be there for him. Despite all the caress of his companion lifted his spirit. He began to purr and even approached his friend's hand to get one more caress. That moment passed very quickly. Soon Lion was frustrated by that reality, and there was Maron playing with a ball of wood threads, jumping from side to side. Harry, on the other hand, was leaving home again. Mr. Lion, Mr. Lion. At first a small voice. It seemed to him only a murmur. However, he soon found that the young feline was running around, and close to them was Irito. I have come to offer you a deal. What sort of deal? Maron asked. It's easy, cat. Just don't mess with me. I'll be their king, and you'll be free to play with a human. Meanwhile, the pantry will be my property. And if we don't want to, replied Lion, if you don't accept my treatment, we will remain enemies, and as soon as I discover another way to use the spring water, I will use it against you. Lion leapt over Irito with his sharp fangs and claws, yet it vanished into the air. What are we to do? What do we to do? Maron asked. You can play with Harry. I'll take care of him myself. At the moment, the Lion remembered the dream he had, stopped for a moment, turned around, and sat down in front of Maron. Maybe you could help me. Lion and Maron came to make a deal. They would catch Irito no matter what, and they would help each other to regain their realm. Irito was set a trap. Leon had long used the water from the infinite spring, and no one knew better than he that the element could only be used for good works, and for someone with a bad intention it would not be of much use. Listen, boy, we have to be careful. There is only one way to beat him. We must catch him and immobilize him. If he cannot move, he will not be able to disappear or use any kind of agility. We are felines, and that is our advantage. We just have to be a little more agile. And while one of us distracts him, the other takes advantage and catches him. The cheese was near the fridge, but Irito approached. He suspected something because that was not his usual place. However, after sniffing that aroma, he decided he had to take the cheese. Leon stood still, waiting for the exact moment to come out to attack. However, Maron came forward. Lion felt devastated. A young feline had just accomplished what he had been trying for years. Yet, in one of his leaps, Maron let Irito escape. Lion leapt quickly from his hiding place, thinking it was his chance. More like a good thief, he quickly disappeared into thin air. He sank between the cracks of a wall and down through the earth to a place where neither Maron nor Lion could find him. I almost caught him. Lion could hear Maron in the distance, yet he had been trapped among clouds, lianas, and each time he tried to move, he only became more entangled. Lion was imprisoned, and some sort of trap had fallen right on top of him. Therefore, not only was he cornered, bound and helpless, he was blind. His pride prevented him from seeking help, but he felt more and more lost, and Harry was far away. Maron pulled with his claws the blanket under which the lion stood, and he was surprised to see the light of day again. He was still trapped, but Maron helped him unravel. Soon Lion was free again and could not help thanking the boy, although he had not expressed it at the time. His heart felt light, and for a moment he felt an emotion he had never had before. Perhaps one alone was not enough to capture Irito, but together they were going to catch him. Little by little set their plans in motion, and Maron stood guard all afternoon, until a surprise Irito appeared, came out of the earth, not for anything was a rodent, walked slowly because Maron had managed to hurt a leg, but he was still agile and ran from one side to the other. When Euryto entered the pantry, Maron stealthily approached, and when Euryto took the precious yellow milk between his legs, Maron captured him by jumping over him with a jump and immobilizing him with his legs. Lion came out of hiding and captured him as well. Both were in charge of taking Euryto away from his property, managed to recover the water from the magical spring, and warned him that thieves were not welcome in that place, which was his home, after telling him that if he appeared before his eyes again, he would not be given a second chance. Euryto fled in terror, far from the lion territory. Lion was grateful that he had finally been able to help Harry and protect his domain completely. Lion was a king, a happy king. I observed his unknown tenant, and for the first time he thought it was not so bad to have a new friend. Despite this, he had to make some rules clear to Maron. A king is always a king after all, and a king is characterized by authority and a big heart to help those who are with him. However, Lion was happy, had won a new friend, and regained his kingdom. The moral. In the case of Lion, being alone and performing his routine was enough, because he could perform tasks by himself. However, together with Maron, he was able to achieve one of his greatest goals, at the time when they both joined and worked together as a team. Well, they say that if you go will only get faster, but if you go a company, you will go farther, especially if instead of judging, we give people the opportunity to come into our lives and value the sincere friendship they can offer us. Okay, that's all.